The history of African American music. From the time of African enslavement in the United States, music has always played an essential role in African American culture. The music of African Americans, born out of the rhythms of their African ancestors and the struggles of their new environment, has contributed significant innovations to the musical landscape of America. One of the earliest forms of African American music was spirituals, or African American religious songs. These songs emerged from the pain and suffering of slavery, expressing a longing for freedom and a connection to God. Spirituals created a sense of community among enslaved Africans, with call and response patterns and harmonies that were passed on from generation to generation. Blues, another form of African American music, grew out of the hardships experienced by African Americans in the 19th and 20th centuries. It expressed the daily struggles of life and conveyed a sense of optimism and hope for the future. Jazz, which emerged in the late 19th century, is perhaps the most famous form of African American music. Jazz incorporated elements from blues, ragtime, and European classical music to create a new sound that captivated listeners. Jazz musicians, such as Louis Armstrong and Duke Ellington, became legends in the music industry, and jazz music became an essential part of the American cultural landscape. The 1950s and 1960s brought about a new form of African American music, known as rhythm and blues, or R&B. R&B combined the blues with the upbeat sounds of rock and roll, and it became incredibly popular among African American teenagers. R&B artists, such as Ray Charles and Otis Redding, became household names, and the genre had a significant influence on the music that followed. In the 1970s and 1980s, African American music became more diverse, with the emergence of funk, soul, and disco music. Funk, which emphasized a strong bass line and emphasized rhythm over melody, was pioneered by artists such as James Brown and Sly and the Family Stone. Soul music incorporated elements of gospel, blues, and R&B and featured powerful vocals and emotional lyrics. Disco music, which was popularized by artists such as Donna Summer and the Bee Gees, emphasized dance and a groovy beat. Hip-hop, which emerged in the Bronx in the 1970s, is perhaps the most significant contribution to American music by African Americans. Hip-hop grew out of the African American community's struggle with poverty and social injustice and provided a way for young people to express themselves creatively. Hip-hop music incorporated rap, DJing, graffiti, and breakdancing, and it has since become a global phenomenon. In conclusion, African American music has played an essential role in American culture and has influenced countless artists and genres. From the spirituals of the 19th century to the hip-hop of today, African American music has provided a voice for the voiceless and has brought people together through the power of rhythm and melody.